105.7 Light FM. That's Human League there. Hi, they call me Morning Dave because I wake up so gosh darned early every morning. We're at 8:42 now, 18 before 9.
Advisory services offered through Second Half Financial Partners, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. The opinions voiced and information provided in this material are for general informational purposes only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine which investments are appropriate for you, please consult with a financial advisor. Second Half Financial Partners, LLC does not provide tax or legal advice. Please consult your tax or legal advisor regarding your particular situation.
So there, it's time to check in on money and find out what's going on Wall Street this morning with Phillip Statler from Statler Financial Services in downtown Sebring. And, oh, Phillip, the party's over. We broke a 6-day streak of record closes for the S&P. I guess that means we must be heading into a recession or something if you're on the mainstream press, right?
Well, hey, it's you just can't one bad day out of how many? You just can't. Yeah.
I'm just waiting because the press always looks for drama, and that's mostly my reaction today. My headline is, the Standard & Poor's 500 ended its streak of closing records. Yesterday, the S&P ended up down 18.9, so we're still at 63.71. NASDAQ lost about 1/3% as well, down 80, and the Dow was down 0.46%, down 204, and I'm almost tempted to say that sounds more to me like anything else than just profit-taking, because there really wasn't, other than a few off reports, there really wasn't any bad news that would have brought the general market down any. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, yeah, I think so. I mean, profit-taking, I think it flipped about late afternoon is when I noticed it heading down. And I looked at the economic. There's nothing really that I saw come out during that time frame that would indicate that give a reason for it other than maybe some profit taking.
Yeah, that's pretty much that was my reaction looking at the curve. I mean, it looked like, okay, there was a little hiccup about 1 p.m. upward, and that was about the time that President Trump said nice things about the Secretary Bessent negotiations with China. That was also about the time that we got the consumer confidence, which was a little bit better than expected too, right?
Yeah, it was. The consumer confidence came out about 10 o'clock yesterday morning, and it ticked up 2 points. It was expected to be 95.2. It came in at 97.2. And if you compare it to the previous reading, the previous reading was 93. So really, that was a nice jump from 93 to 97.2.
Absolutely, and as consumer-driven as the United States economy is, that's just a poll. It's kind of like following political polls, but as consumer-driven as we are, confidence in the consumer is really a bellwether that means something serious in this economy. We got some more good news this morning to start things out after we were concerned about the last quarter GDP when we actually shrunk by a little bit on the gross domestic product. Quarter-over-quarter annualized growth in the gross domestic product. I'm trying to remember. I think this is the first reading on last quarter, but they're reading a 3% increase in the gross domestic product. That's our big macro market mover for the morning, and I've got to consider that good news because they were only expecting 2.5%.
Yeah, mine was at 2.3%, but still, the first quarter number was a minus 0.5%. So,
exactly, which had all of us a little nervous.
It did. It really did. And to go from a minus 0.5 to a 3, that's a pretty hefty jump, which is good. I expected when I saw that to see the markets, kind of skyrocket, but that didn't happen either. I mean, they really just, it was kind of a non-event. Just kind of everything. The futures just kind of chugged along at the same rate they were before that announcement came out.
Yeah, I think they're probably waiting for the Fed decision and see what the gossip mill does. Get to that in a second, right after the other number that came out, and it's always a good precursor. It's almost never right, but at the very least, it's good news. The ADP private employment guesstimate before the big government number comes out on Friday. ADP says we added 104,000 new jobs to private payrolls last month too. They were only expecting on my number like 75,000, and kind of like the gross domestic product number last month was just, Armageddon. They showed 33,000 down. All of a sudden, now we overexceed the number of jobs added to the private sector. I mean, the macro numbers that we're getting this morning, you're right, we should be having party time on the indexes if it wasn't for the interest rate decision this afternoon.
Exactly, and that's got to be what's holding things back this morning is the interest rate decision, which I think comes out at 2:00 today, if I'm not mistaken. And so that's going to be a key, obviously, this afternoon. We do have pending home sales that comes out at 10. I don't think that will be a non-market mover, pretty much no matter what happens there.
I was going to say, if two major surprises on the macro front don't do it, an expected under pressure economic sector like home building, I don't expect too terribly much to move the market. The Fed decision is getting over amplified today because everybody is absolutely certain they're not going to do anything, but I keep reading it over and over and over again that Michelle Bowman and Christopher Waller both want to cut rates. Almost nobody else on the open market committee does. So that the phrase is, if they both dissent, it'll be the first time we've seen two dissents in decades. I'm sorry, the vote will still be 10-2 to do nothing. Why are we getting so excited about this? I guess I don't understand. They have discussions. Two people disagree. Whoopee fizz.
Well, they don't have anything else to talk about, Dave, so they got to make something out of something. So, that's where it's coming from.
In a mainstream press that has a hissy fit, when somebody took a picture of President Trump without his fake tan on the golf course the other day, we get excited over the dumbest darn things. And right now, the fact that two Fed governors could actually disagree with holding steady out of 12 votes, I'm sitting here and saying, oh, Lord. But as usual, we're going to be parsing everything Powell says at the press conference at 2:30 because we're really going to be trying to read tea leaves as to what the consensus looks like for a September cut in rates, which right now they're guessing is like 65% odds they're going to do it. That odd's either going to go up probably or down unlikely after the press conference today. But I'm waiting to see whether or not we make a big deal over two Fed governors saying we ought to cut rates today because, quite frankly, I'm confused as to why everybody gives a fig.
Yeah, I think it'll be. We'll see at 2:00 what happens, and I think they'll hold steady. So that's yeah.
That's probably a safe bet. Stock activity going around. We mentioned it yesterday. Novo Nordisk canned their CEO and announced they were having troubles with their weight loss thing. They absolutely slid down a slippery slide yesterday. Spotify also reported. We didn't have that one in this morning. They had a Q2 loss and kind of pulled their guidance back by a little bit as well. The big ones today are both coming after the market closes. The Meta people, the Facebook company, and Microsoft going to report as well. But there are a few household names that are reporting, and I understand Starbucks is not as well off as they were a few years ago. They're even closing a few of their pickup-only coffee stands. How'd they do last quarter?
Well, it was kind of a mixed bag. It's hard to tell, to be honest with you right now. The report I got was that they missed on earnings by about 15 cents a share. Now, they were quick to point out that they're not sure that the number that they have as an expected is comparable to the actual number as adjusted. So they're quick to point that out. But that's a pretty big difference to see how they can squeeze that back together. Revenue was a little bit better than expected, but it didn't hurt them this morning, so there must be a little closer than what we think. They're trading up 5.4% this morning.
Cool. Yeah, that's the second stock report we've had this week, though. They said, we're not sure our arithmetic is the same as anybody else's. That's got to put investors on edge when people say we're not too sure of our numbers.
Well, it's not so much that they're not sure, it's the analysts aren't sure, right? Because the analysts, the company's sure of what their numbers are. What's not really sure is the analysts don't necessarily have all the information when they make their number. When they say, okay, this is what we expect it to be, they don't have all the same things the company has. And so they have to start looking and parse through the actual report to make sure that everything that they originally thought in the analysis is still there, and make some pluses and minuses depending upon what they see in the actual report and what they hear when they do the stockholder earnings report conference call.
Okay. Okay, that makes a rational. I haven't heard that codicil show up, twice inside of the same week during earnings season before. It just kind of make my ears perk up a little bit.
Yeah, it does a little bit. The other thing that we had, I'm not sure if they actually reported because I'm not getting a full report here, but Visa shares are falling this morning. They reaffirmed their 2025 guidance, low double-digit growth, but it said they did beat expectations on top and bottom line here. Not sure what those numbers were, how close they were, but they're trading down 2% this morning after closing down almost 1.2% yesterday. So they seem to be sliding a little bit on the downside.
Ouch.
Yep, and we talked about Novo Nordisk earlier. You did, and so they're trading down another 4.8% this morning.
Ouch.
Yeah. So a lot of ouches this morning. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, are they? I thought Novo Nordisk is a foreign company. They do trade on our exchange, though, right?
They do. They do trade on our exchange. But they're pretty close to their 52-week low. Actually, they will open at their 52-week low right now at the rate they're going. Yeah, they're a Danish pharmaceutical company.
I was going to say, I knew they were over in Europe somewhere, and that's becoming a very competitive field with the generic GLP or GDP, whatever those injectable weight loss drugs are. The name brand ones, all I keep hearing over and over again is that they're all getting eaten up by the generic competitions from the compounding pharmacies.
Yeah, they're definitely making headway. They're reducing the price and that kind of stuff, which hurts companies like Novo and the other companies that really supply that drug. Talking about meds, we got Teladoc Health Company. They narrowed their loss. They were expected to lose 26 cents a share. They only lost 19 cents a share. Revenue better than expected. So that has them up about 2% this morning before we get going. Let's see. I'm trying to thumb through here, see if there's any other companies that really we recognize. Lending Club. It was a household name at one time. It's you don't hear about it much anymore. Sometimes they'll run some ads, but not as often as they used to. They had a really great quarter. They beat by more than double what was expected. They made 33 cents a share. They were expected to only make 15 cents a share. Revenue well ahead of expectations also. So they're maybe your big winner today, Dave. Up right now 26.8%.
Whoa, like you said, we haven't heard much about them. It's kind of like a Monty Python thing. We're not dead yet. It's out there. Resetting the table, it looked like more of a profit-taking day than anything else last night. Everybody was pretty much in minor amounts of red ink at the close yesterday afternoon. 45 minutes before we open today, what are we looking at?
Just a tinge of green, Dave. We got the Dow up 27 points, S&P 500 up $9, the NASDAQ 100 up $51. So nothing drastic on the open. On the other side, we got silver and gold both trading down. Silver 1%, gold down 0.5%, and then crude oil up almost 0.5% this morning. It's trying to get to 70 again, Dave. $69.50 a barrel.
Ouch, that's like $2 a barrel up from where it was yesterday morning, too. So I wonder if that's a function of all the tiff that's going on over whether or not we're going to be capable of supplying all the energy Europe agreed to buy from us in that deal they shook with Trump. Oh, find that out as time goes on. Overseas markets, the Asian Rim market was somewhat mixed at the close at 6 a.m. this morning. Hong Kong had a really bad day. And the Chinese mainland markets, one was up, one was down. So there's no trend at all in the Asian Rim. Europe, on the other hand, is slightly to the positive this morning. The average European index up by about 0.15% halfway through their trading day. Getting my retirement in place so I can plan on it instead of dream for it takes a pair of expert eyes. How do I get a hold of you to make my retirement plans happen, Phillip?
Dave, we offer everyone a half hour of our time to see if they're on the right track to the retirement they always dreamed of. We'll answer questions they may have and make sure that they're on the right path. If they're not, we'll offer some suggestions and some things that they can do. And if we can help, glad to step in and be of service. They can give us a call at 863-382-0037 to schedule that call. And then join us this weekend for the Statler Financial Radio Show, 6 a.m. and noon on Saturday, 10 a.m. Sunday morning on Highlands News Talk, 7:30 a.m., 95.3 FM.
And newstalk730am.com, because we work real hard to stream everything, too. I'll see you tomorrow morning, my friend. Thank you so much.
All right, buddy. Have a great day.
Take care. It's 105.7 Light FM and Statler Financial Services. Phillip Statler.
Imagine for a moment that an intense storm